All right, let's get right into it. What we're doing here is a cold assessment of the modern domestic grid. This explainer is all about breaking down an operational doctrine called sovereign autonomy. Think of it as a strategic framework, a guide for the woman who is the absolute pillar of her household, but who also needs to maintain a space that is completely, 100% her own.
So here's our briefing for today. We're going to start with the core philosophy behind this whole thing. Then we'll get into the technical side of it, how to build what's called the digital ghost. After that, we'll talk about the calculus of choosing the right people, how to engineer your time and space, and we'll finish with what is really a master-level concept, the art of strategic failure. Okay, section 1, the philosophy of the unseen. Now, this is not about rebellion. That's not the point. The whole idea here is that true freedom isn't found in hiding. It's found in mastering the art of being seen. It's about managing visibility itself.
And that brings us to the central concept, sovereign autonomy. You have to understand this is a calculated methodology. It's about meeting every single public and domestic demand so perfectly, so flawlessly, that your private life essentially becomes invisible to the system. You earn the freedom to be unseen by being perfectly seen.
Now this visual, this really gets to the heart of it. It shows you the core duality. You've got the public pillar, structured, reliable, predictable, a static fixture in everyone's life. And it's that perfection, that very structure, that serves as the camouflage. It's what allows the private operator, the fluid, unseen self, to exist without anyone ever noticing. So, with the philosophy established, we can now get into the tactical phase. Section 2 is all about architecting the digital ghost. This is where we actually build the digital and financial infrastructure you need for absolute, total privacy.
Your operational security, it all starts with your main phone. The first rule is the masked contact protocol. You hide high-stakes activity in plain sight. You give them boring names like warranty department or spam risk. The second rule is what's called the notification trap. You disable all message previews. Your lock screen needs to be a total blank slate. To really achieve these desires, you need a secondary, completely isolated portal, a burner phone. And the protocol for this is non-negotiable. There are 4 strict rules. 1. A unique account created on public Wi-Fi. 2. It never ever interacts with your home hardware. 3. You store it exclusively in a third space, think a gym locker or your car. And finally, the domestic perimeter rule. It is never ever powered on or charged inside your home. This same logic has to apply to your finances. Shared accounts, joint IDs, that's a critical risk. You're basically creating an immediate, transparent data trail for anyone to follow. Real security requires a total decoupling, and that means using things like ghost wallets and prepaid cards bought with cash, which completely silences the financial pulse of your private life.
And this visual just illustrates the 2 paths perfectly. On one side, you've got the documented, easily audited joint account. On the other, the invisible economy. It's fluid, it's untraceable, and it's completely separate from the domestic grid. Honestly, the choice you make here dictates whether the entire operation is even viable.
Now for a really critical piece of counterintelligence, it's called device calibration. See, the source material here argues that perfection itself is a red flag. To hide the fact that you're being hypervigilant, you actually have to engineer minor mistakes. Intentionally letting a battery die, or misplacing your phone. It creates a baseline of technical incompetence that actually shields you.
Okay, so technology is one thing, but it's only one part of the equation. Now we have to turn to the most unpredictable variable of all, people. Section 3, the human selection protocol. This is where the doctrine applies a cold, hard calculus to personal relationships.
The number 1 principle for selecting a partner is simple: mutual assured destruction. A secure collaborator has to have just as much to lose as you do, maybe even more. Their reason for staying silent has to be baked into their life structure. This leads us to 3 ideal archetypes.
First, the forgiven X. This works on a psychological level. Any contact is easily explained away. Then there's the high-stakes professional. A doctor, a lawyer. Their public standing makes discretion a professional necessity. But the gold standard, that's the attached side partner. He's also in a committed relationship, so he gets the operational constraints, and he has an equal stake in keeping things absolutely silent.
But how do you vet a candidate? Well, you run the discretion test, and the metric is their response to silence. When a call goes unanswered, what do? Do they panic? Do they text and call over and over again? Or do they have the discipline to just wait for a secure callback? You see, patience isn't a virtue here. It's a core qualification. Anxiety is a liability.
All right, so you've got your collaborator selected. Now we move to the operational environment itself. Section 4, Temporal and Forensic Security. This is all about manipulating time and physical space to create secure, invisible opportunities.
This doctrine imposes really strict rules about time. All private activity is confined to the workday window, let's say between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. This period is the dead zone, a time when being unreachable can be justified. And the sunset rule is absolute. Once you cross that domestic threshold for the evening, the secret life completely ceases to exist.
Now, what's really interesting here is the breakdown of alibis. You have your low-trust loop, mundane, untrackable errands. But the high-trust alibi is so much more effective. By getting involved in civic duties or continuing education, you establish a pattern of virtue. Your absence is reframed as self-improvement, and that makes any inquiry feel like an attack on your character. It's brilliant, really.
So your time is secure, but what about physical evidence? Your vehicle is a primary source of forensic data. A meticulous audit is required before you re-enter the domestic perimeter. That means resetting the seat, the radio presets, clearing the GPS, and purging any and all paper trails, receipts, ticket stubs, everything.
And this is exactly why that audit is so critical. The whole goal is to maintain a natural baseline. Any little deviation, a changed radio station, a seat that's moved one notch back, that's what we call a logical leak, and it can compromise the entire system. We've now arrived at our final section, and you could argue it's the most sophisticated concept in this entire doctrine. Section 5, the art of failure. This is about the strategic necessity of engineering incompetence. The core principle here is that a person who is 100% efficient looks like they're on a mission. To be truly invisible, an operator has to seem authentic. And you know what? Authentic people make mistakes. Perfection is unnatural. It draws unwanted attention. Controlled imperfection is the ultimate camouflage.
So how do you actually do this? You execute it through 4 integrated protocols. There's the device calibration we already talked about, the truth calibration, which is offering up a boring, low-stakes truth to satisfy someone's curiosity, the errand calibration, where you occasionally forget to do some small task, and finally, the emotional calibration, a quarterly mini meltdown about stress, which justifies your need for me time and privacy.
You have to understand, these controlled failures, they are not mistakes. They are tactical maneuvers. They humanize the machine. They transform what could be seen as a suspiciously perfect operation into the believable, sometimes flawed rhythm of an authentic life. They are, in the end, the final shield.
And that, right there, is the ultimate goal of the doctrine of sovereign autonomy. It's a system where the operator can function flawlessly as that public pillar, the provider, the partner, the administrator, while at the same time securing a sanctuary where she remains entirely and secretly her own.